Hello and welcome to Stu Does America. I'm your host, Stu Burgier, the single most pro-vaccine person in America. Yes. I want Pfizer and Moderna in this arm, and then I want Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca in this arm, and for the fun of it, I might just inject the vaccine from the Wuhan Institute of Virology into my ass cheek, which I'm pretty sure is made out of liquid COVID-19, and then see if the other vaccines can win a land war against it. I am that pro-vaccine. I get that you might not be as 1,000% pro-vaccine as I am, and that's fine. I don't want anyone from the government forcing you to take one. You're an adult. You make your choice on that. But if you're not using it, can I have your doses to double up? Just asking. Even people who don't really want to take this vaccine or some others usually will agree that, generally speaking, vaccines are modern miracles. I feel that it's very unlikely I'm going to pull down smallpox or polio this afternoon, and I have vaccines to thank for that. Read Matt Ridley's great book, How Innovation Works, to see how vaccines are actually a story of going against scientific consensus and quote-unquote regular people upending all of medicine for generations to come for the better. There's a bunch of polls out there about the vaccine, but they all show kind of approximately the same thing. About 40% of people are sort of like me, ready to jam every needle they can find into their arms. About 30% say that they're open to taking it, but, let me stay here at the back of the line and see if everyone else develops a weird rash or a second head or just spontaneously combusts before I start taking it. In other words, let me wait a couple months and see what happens first. I get that. Then there's about 20% who say they won't get it, but they might if they have to, if they're forced to for work or if someone triple dog dares them. And finally, of course, there's the last 10% who say, hell no, get your devil needles away from me. Again, it's my view that no one should be forced to take a vaccine that they don't want to take. But we have arrived at a moment where the sort of nonsensical rhetoric from the government on this stuff is starting to do real damage. Everywhere you look, you get messaging from the media, politicians, and public health officials like Dr. Fauci, telling us that vaccines or not, we might have to wear masks until the year 2093. This is freaking insane. I oppose government mandates on the grounds of personal liberty, but everyone in America is dealing with restrictions which vary widely depending on where you live. To tell these people that they can get a vaccine, which is somewhere near 95% effective, and then tell them they still can't live their lives is borderline mental abuse. Everywhere in the media you see disclaimers highlighted like they're the main story. Is it possible to get COVID after being vaccinated? Is it possible to get COVID if you've already had it? Lots of things are possible. But once you are vaccinated or you've had the virus, there is, and listen to me closely here, and I want you to hear this, there is no freaking reason to do anything other than return to life as normal. Well, you might not get COVID, but you might be able to spread it. Just like getting COVID twice. Yes, there is that bajillion to one shot that can happen, but it is incredibly unlikely. The first study from Israel on the Pfizer vaccine is out, and it is about 90% effective in preventing transmission. If you have either had the virus already, or if you get the vaccination and wait the couple of weeks until it's effective, listen to me closely, there is no reason to do anything other than return to life as normal. Of course, maybe your life as normal sucked. Can't answer for that. But you can change your life for other reasons, however you'd like. This is America, after all. But your risk of COVID no longer demands your attention. That's what's great about this. What's unique about a pandemic situation is not that people die all the time. The year-long death count from the real ramp-up of the pandemic is going to be right around the levels of heart disease in this country. Obviously, we accept heart disease as a risk of living. Cheeseburgers, pizza, ice cream are the price of admission. And many of us choose to go down that long, dark road. But COVID has hit tens of millions of people who tried to avoid getting it. They didn't get the enjoyment of the constant ice cream, and they still get the crappy disease. It happens to people who did nothing to get it and have no real way of avoiding it. So, I don't know, we've got this COVID thing. Let's get rid of it. The magic juice is entering the syringe as we speak. Now, I know the tough guy talk show host thing to do is to say, just open it up. But while this feels good to say, the economy doesn't rage back to life with this approach. It hasn't worked anywhere it's been tried. Neither have lockdowns, by the way. The only thing that works with COVID is not having COVID. Yes, restaurants and bars want to open up. But ask the restaurant owner who was surviving on a 4% profit margin before COVID how well they're going to do without Democrats or old people. Opening up the economy means everyone is back at it, sucking down cheeseburgers, pizzas, and ice cream, and then eventually causing a dignified death from heart disease. That's the America I want back. That's why I'm introducing my new movement, Freedom Through Needles. Yes! Once the vaccine is available to anyone who wants to get it, there is, and listen to me closely, absolutely no reason to have any restrictions, either through the government or personally. Right now, the people most against the restrictions seem to also be most against the vaccine. Well, where does that leave us? Yeah, we can open it up and let it fly, and on personal liberty grounds, I can get into that. But there are a lot of people who saw people they love die and get hospitalized, and they are not going to play that game. Israel has all sorts of rules that we don't want and with our constitution couldn't have. But generally speaking, they are telling their people, hey, get the vaccine, and then you won't hear from us again. How about that? We need more of that in this country. Our media and government should be telling people that instead of writing about every 1 in a million reason to continue hiding in our homes. How many of you would get the vaccine just to never hear from Anthony Fauci again? I know you people. You'd love that. This has been a massive screw up since the beginning of the pandemic. As the New York Times has even been calling it lately, COVID absolutism. Quote, in a public health emergency, absolutism is a very tempting response. People should cease all behavior that creates additional risk. People continue to scream at joggers and walkers and cyclists who are not wearing masks. There are two big questions to ask about these actions. How much are they doing to reduce the spread of the virus, and do they have any downside? The answer to the first question, according to many experts, is they seem to do little good. Prohibiting outdoor activity is unlikely to reduce the spread of the virus, nor is urging people to always to wear a mask outdoors. Worldwide, scientists, and listen to this, scientists have not documented any instances of outdoor transmission unless people were in close conversation. Any instances. Banning college students from outdoor walks won't make them stay inside their dorm rooms for weeks on end, but it probably will increase the chances they surreptitiously gather indoors. Yes, yes, yes. For the better part of a year, we were forced to argue about how to exist with COVID. Do we all hide in our individual bunkers and never interact with another human being again? Or do we just let it fly and hope Grandpa is one of the lucky old people still standing when we hit herd immunity? Well, we don't need to make that choice anymore. We are weeks away from the vaccine being widely available to everyone above 16 years old. After that, you choose whether you take it, and you know what? Honestly, if you don't, that's on you. You take the risk, just like I take the risk with pizza and ice cream. The three most hated things in the universe, yes, capitalism, big pharma, and the Trump administration, all came together and brought us these vaccines. They are here. We have an off-ramp now. Freedom through needles. Embrace the jab. The good thing is, if something goes wrong, we can keep the Freedom Through Needles logo and just transfer our efforts over to heroin. That should solve all of our problems.